In traditional alchemy, your heat source represents your attention, your awareness, and the practice itself. You want to use the most stable, gentle heat source possible as you run your distillation kit. In an old alchemy lab, you'd kind of fiddle with your little lamp, or you'd use a sand bath. Today, people have these electric burners, they have expensive heating mantles, digital burners, but if you're like me and you can only afford the cheap Walmart coil burner, you should be using a sand bath because it prevents hot spots from the coils on your flask. It also prevents rapid fluctuations in heat, which is also safer for your glass so it doesn't shock it. Now, the sand bath is an old tool that real alchemists used to use, and it's incredibly cheap. It's very effective. I'm going to show you today how to make it out of just sand you can find from the beach. And it keeps the temperature so stable and it holds heat so well that even once you get this thing to a rolling boil and you turn the burner off, it'll continue to boil and bubble for about 5 minutes all on its own. That's not like normally cooking on the stove when you take the heat away and it just stops bubbling right away. This will create an incredible amount of stability in your kit, and it's the closest thing I've found to create that traditional alchemical practice of using the low, steady heat. If you're trying to make a sand bath using sand from the beach, you're supposed to get up above the tide line, which is not actually possible where I am, because that's all protected dunes there, and I don't want to get in trouble. I'm also not someone to destroy the dunes. So we're just going to go right here in this salty ass sand. This might technically be a crime, actually, but I don't think I'm going to get in very much trouble for taking some sand. So, different things to try to sift through. Make sure you don't get a bunch of crap. Pretty easy process. Just finding the right tool for the job there. Wet sand doesn't sift very well, so like I said, get above the tide line and find dry sand and sift it, but I can't do that, so I'm not going to. Keep an eye out for a little debris. This is about 1/2 inch of sand in the bottom, so the flask does not make direct contact with the cast iron pan, which doesn't have anything in it. The cast iron has no oil or anything on it. And the pan is just big enough to cover the entire heating coil. And this is a 1500 watt coil heater. And then we're gonna fill in with more sand, at least an inch, but we're gonna go pretty high up towards this lip here. Here I have the sand bath going, and I'm making some juniper oil. But the very first time you use one of these things and you test it, you should just use water. You heat it up slowly, say set it to low heat, let it heat up for say 10-15 minutes, see what it does. Then gradually increase the heat for another 10-15 minutes, see what it does. Keep going up slowly and incrementally, keeping an eye out for anything shifting, keeping an ear out for any popping or sputtering sounds, and also make sure there's no toxic fumes or odors coming off that sand. Mine smelled a little bit like burnt peanut butter the first few times I used it, but it didn't smell toxic or harmful, so I didn't really mind. Didn't even smell that bad. That's why we wash our sand, is you don't want corrosive salt sticking to the sand, to your pan, to your equipment, and you want any weird, who knows what, that ended up in the sand rinsed out of there to get the cleanest, driest sand possible. The sand must be completely dry and as clean as you can get it. And then test slowly, incrementally. Get some water boiling. If everything seems safe, power it down. Let it cool off naturally before you touch anything or adjust anything. And then you can start using some real herbs. Truth be told, I could have just bought nice clean sand, probably very cheaply, but it makes me feel more connected to the tradition of alchemy and to the alchemists who came before, the people who developed these techniques, when I do it myself the way they used to do it. And like I say, in alchemy, when we work on the material, we're working on ourselves, we're working on purifying ourselves. And just like this heating source here represents our awareness and our practice, our focus, going out and finding the sand from my local beach, cleaning it up, bringing that into the lab, into my practice, using this juniper that I cut down from the tree right outside my door. All those things make it mean a lot more to me, make me enjoy it more, and make me feel like I'm part of this damn near ancient tradition. But there you have it. Cheap, essentially free, very safe, very reliable, and it's lasted for hundreds of years for a reason. I hope that this helps you with your kit and your alchemy journey and helps keep your glass safe and off those heating coils.